All right, so today we're diving deep into this YouTube video.
Okay.
It's called Know When to Walk Away, Set Boundaries to Increase Your Value,
Hmm.
from a channel called ISIS. And wow, the comments
Oh,
section,
yeah.
it
Yeah.
was on fire. People had a lot to say about this.
I bet.
So clearly this whole boundary thing is something people are thinking about. We're going to break it down.
Sounds good.
Look at how to set boundaries, especially, in romantic relationships,
Hmm.
and see how that all connects back to like boosting your personal value. What
Yeah.
do you think?
Yeah, I think this idea of like increasing your value
Right.
through boundaries is super interesting.
Probably.
Really about, the power we have to shape our own lives, our relationships.
For sure. And she comes in strong right out of the gate,
Oh, yeah.
talking about this high-value woman mindset.
Okay.
So knowing your worth, sticking to your standards, and not taking any like subpar treatment.
Yeah.
What do you think about this whole concept? How can our listener use this in their life?
I think it's important to be clear that this high value woman idea
Yeah.
isn't about like, I don't know, putting a price tag on yourself or being arrogant or anything like that.
Okay.
It's more about recognizing like your inherent value as a person, deciding what your non-negotiables are, and then not settling for less. In relationships, that is.
Never.
Like, think about it. If you don't value yourself, how can you expect anyone else to?
So true. And she really drives this point home with some pretty strong advice.
Oh.
She says you got to be willing to walk away
Walk away.
from anything that compromises your values.
Yeah.
Like any situation.
Wow.
What do you think about that?
Well, this is where it gets interesting because walking away can be really powerful.
Yeah.
Think about it. When you're willing to walk away, it shows you've got options. You're not like desperate,
Yeah.
and it shows you respect yourself. You stand by your principles. And that can really shift the power dynamic, right?
Mhm.
Whether you're dating, negotiating a job, even just dealing with a difficult friend.
She even gives the example of Sabrina Dower Elba,
Oh, okay.
Idris Elba's wife.
Yeah, yeah.
She says that she attributes her success in, snagging this high-profile guy
Interesting.
to her willingness to walk away.
Wow.
Like, she knew her worth and wasn't afraid to be single if it meant keeping her standards.
That's a good example of walking away being a power move.
Right.
But I think it's also important to, consider when walking away is truly the best move.
Yeah.
Sometimes it might be better to try, like, communicating clearly, addressing the issue head on instead of just, leaving.
Right. Important nuance.
Yeah.
So it's not always the first reaction,
No.
but a tool in your tool belt.
Exactly.
One boundary she mentioned that kind of surprised me, though.
What's that?
She actually says you should walk away if you run into repulsive smells.
That's an interesting one. Sounds kind of superficial at first, but she suggests those smells could be like signaling some kind of biological incompatibility, which, there's actually more and more research coming out about pheromones and attraction. So maybe we're drawn to certain scents subconsciously because
Yes.
they indicate genetic diversity,
Yeah.
which is important for healthy kids.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
So there's more to this smell test than meets the eye.
Yeah.
Or the nose.
Right.
But aside from those, shall we say, fragrant exceptions,
Sure.
she's really firm about this distinction between boundaries
Yeah.
based on, your core values
Yeah.
and deal breakers that are just superficial.
Oh, okay.
So no more getting hung up on a guy's height
Right.
or if he's a good dresser.
Got it.
She even jokes him, you should be the pretty one anyway.
I like that.
Yeah, the point is focusing too much on superficial stuff
Yeah.
can make you miss those deeper things. Character, compatibility. You might miss red flags.
Yeah.
And settle for someone who doesn't share your values.
Right, because you're fixated on, looks.
Exactly. Don't let those rose-colored glasses fool you.
For sure.
Okay, so speaking of seeing things clearly, she talks about this abundance mindset for dating.
Okay.
What does she mean by that? And how does that tie back to boundaries?
So an abundance mindset in this context is all about believing that there are plenty of amazing partners out there.
Interesting.
It's shifting from a scarcity mindset to one of opportunity.
Okay.
Believing this lets you be more picky, make choices that are good for you, because you know you have options.
So you're not afraid to walk away.
Exactly. If someone's not treating you right, you're not afraid to walk away because you know there's someone better out there for you.
Instead of clinging on out of fear of being alone.
Exactly.
So you can set higher standards and actually attract partners who meet them.
That's the idea.
This is making so much sense. I'm sure our listeners are with us.
I hope so.
Then She makes a pretty bold statement about attraction.
Oh.
She says men are more drawn to women who are self-assured, not clingy.
Mm.
She even suggests that some men might not really fall in love until
Whoa.
they feel like they could lose you. What do you think about all that?
That's a bold claim. But there might be something to that idea, right?
Yeah.
That independence, being self-reliant is attractive.
Right.
When you're confident and not always needing someone else to be happy, it shows strength, shows you're self-aware.
Yeah.
Qualities a lot of people find attractive.
Totally. It makes sense. If you're always looking for validation, reassurance,
Yeah,
it can be a turnoff.
could be.
But then she throws in this other thing about men maybe falling harder when there's a fear of loss.
Oh,
What do
interesting.
you make of that?
That's a fascinating psychological angle. Maybe a bit of uncertainty keeps things exciting.
Right?
If someone knows they have you completely, no matter what, they might start to take you for granted.
Hmm.
But if there's a sense that you could walk away, well, they might appreciate you more. Try harder.
So it's not about playing games.
No, not at all.
It's about having that healthy, independent self-respect,
Right.
which makes you more attractive in the process.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that a healthy relationship is two whole people choosing to be together, not two halves desperately clinging to each other.
This is giving us so much to think about.
I know, right?
We've covered a lot already, this high-value woman mindset, the power of walking away, even the surprising role of smells in choosing a partner.
Yeah, it's been a lot.
But there's still so much more to unpack.
There is. We've only just scratched the surface of this video.
So much more to explore.
Stay tuned. We'll be back in a moment to dive even deeper into these empowering concepts.
As we were talking about walking away,
Yeah,
it struck me,
what's that?
she kind of frames it
Mm-hmm.
as this self-care thing,
Oh, yeah.
a skill you build up.
Totally. She actually calls it her superpower,
Oh, wow.
which I love. Yeah.
Because it shows it's not about being mean or cold.
Right.
It's about taking charge of how you feel, protecting your energy.
Absolutely. And it takes, self-awareness,
For sure.
courage, even to recognize you deserve respect and know when to step back if you're not getting it.
And it doesn't always have to be this big dramatic exit, right?
Right.
It can be about being thoughtful about who's in your life
Yeah.
and setting those boundaries right up front.
Exactly. It's about having standards
Yeah.
and communicating them clearly.
And remember, this is for all relationships, not just romantic ones.
That's right. Like at work, with friends, even family.
Which she gets into, right? Sometimes the people closest to us,
Mm-hmm.
they can hold us back,
It's true.
even if they don't mean to.
Yeah. Could be their negativity, lack of ambition, or even them being scared to see us succeed.
That's a hard pill to swallow, but it's real.
It is. Sometimes the people who love us most can limit us without realizing it. Projecting their own fears onto us, maybe discouraging us from taking chances, chasing our dreams.
And the saddest part is, we often shrink ourselves down to make them comfortable,
It's true.
dimming our own light, not making
Yeah.
waves, all to avoid upsetting them.
And at what cost? Right.
Yeah.
What dreams get left behind? What talents stay hidden? What could we achieve if we weren't so afraid to shine?
Yeah. That really hits home,
Yeah.
I think we've all had those moments where we've stayed quiet,
Yeah.
downplayed our successes, just to not make someone else feel bad.
It's not sustainable, though, in the long run.
Right.
That unmet potential, it festers,
Yeah.
creates this inner conflict.
It does.
Can turn into resentment, frustration, feeling disconnected from who you really are.
She tells this story about how cutting certain people out of her life
Okay.
allowed her to finally go for it with YouTube.
Wow.
She says she wouldn't have had the guts if those people were still around
Really?
because she was so worried what they'd think.
That's powerful. Setting those boundaries, even if it's tough, can open up space for amazing things.
Exactly.
By letting go of those relationships that were holding her back, she was free to pursue her passion.
Like she had to shed those old layers of self-doubt,
Yeah.
so her true self could come out.
That brings us back to the main point of this video right now.
Right.
Setting boundaries and being willing to walk away are essential for building self-worth.
And finding relationships that match your values.
Exactly. And this applies everywhere.
Yeah.
Not just romance, but friendships, family, work, too.
It's about knowing your worth, making your needs clear, and being ready to step back from anything that hurts you.
Creating a life that feels authentic,
Yeah.
aligned with your deepest values, surrounded by people who support you.
But let's be real, setting those boundaries, especially with people we love,
No, it can be so hard.
it's scary.
Emotionally draining.
We might feel guilty.
Worried about causing conflict or losing them.
But sometimes
Yeah.
those hard talks, they're necessary for growth.
They are for both people and for the relationship.
By being clear about boundaries, we can actually make things healthier, more genuine.
And sometimes, even with our best efforts, some relationships just won't make it through that.
It's true.
People might not be willing to respect those boundaries, meet us halfway.
And that's okay.
It's a tough truth.
It is.
But it's okay to let go, to choose yourself.
And to believe that something better is waiting for you.
Because here's the amazing thing.
What's that?
When you put your own well-being first, set those boundaries,
Yeah.
you become a magnet
Oh,
for the right people, the right opportunities.
like you're sending out a signal
Exactly. Saying, I value myself and I expect to be treated that way.
and the universe responds.
It does.
Bringing you people and experiences that reflect that.
Exactly. It's this beautiful cycle
Yeah.
of self-love, empowerment,
The more you believe in your worth, the more you attract people who see it too.
like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
And it starts with setting those boundaries, having the courage to walk away from anything that dims your light.
It all comes back to that high-value woman concept.
Right.
Not about being arrogant, putting yourself above others.
Right.
It's about self-respect, knowing yourself, having the guts to create a life that matches your values.
It's knowing you deserve love, respect, happiness, and not settling for less.
And sometimes that means having the strength to walk away, even when it hurts.
Because sometimes walking away is the kindest thing you can do
Mm-hmm.
for both of you.
Yeah.
It makes space for healing, growth, and the chance for something even better to bloom down the line.
And that's a beautiful thought to hold on to.
It is.
We'll be right back to wrap up our deep dive into setting boundaries and leave you with a question to really ponder.
All right, so we're back, ready to wrap up this deep dive into boundaries. This video has really given us a lot to think about, how we are in relationships, putting ourselves first.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing that keeps coming back to me is like these ideas about setting boundaries, knowing when to walk away, they're not just for romantic stuff. They're everywhere, right?
Totally. Friendships, family, work, you name it. Understanding those boundaries, having the guts to actually enforce them, that's huge.
It's about like recognizing those energy vampires, the situations, the relationships that just drain you, make you feel disrespected.
And it's not always like big blow-up drama either. Sometimes it's just a mismatch of values or goals. That feeling that things are off, you're not quite clicking with the people or the place you're in.
You got it. And we often ignore those little signs, those whispers saying something's wrong because, well, we don't want to rock the boat, hurt anyone's feelings.
But what this video really drives home is those whispers, they're usually trying to tell us something important. They're pointing us toward a more authentic life, more true to ourselves.
It's about trusting your gut, that inner voice that knows what's right for you, even if you can't put it into words.
And sometimes that gut feeling is yelling, walk away.
Exactly. And like she showed us with her own story, walking away can make space for something even more amazing to come to your life.
Like closing one door so another can open.
And who knows what's waiting behind that new door, a better relationship, your dream job, a deeper connection with yourself. So many possibilities.
It's kind of exciting to think about, right? All the changes that can happen when we step away from what's no longer working.
Embracing the unknown, trusting that the universe has something better planned.
So as we wrap this up, I want to acknowledge, setting boundaries, walking away, it can be really tough. Emotionally draining, maybe brings up guilt, fear, even loss.
That's true, but it's also super empowering because when you choose yourself, put your well-being first, you're sending this powerful message to the universe and to yourself that you deserve to be happy.
And that's a message worth shouting from the rooftops.
For sure. So as you go about your day, think about this. If you had to pick one boundary to set right now in your life to feel more valuable, happier, what would it be? What situation, relationship, habit is no longer serving you? What step can you take today to start building a more authentic, more fulfilling life?
That's a powerful question to sit with.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the power of boundaries. Until next time, remember you're worthy of love, respect, and boundaries that protect your precious energy.